Hi, my name is Will Roya. I've been a professional juggler for about 10 years. I've been doing magic juggling shows for all types of occasions, and I do juggling lessons also. I first picked up juggling from a book called The Klutz Book of Juggling. I actually taught myself how to juggle. It actually took me 2 weeks to learn. I was a slow learner, and I ended up going to college, the University of Vermont, where I formed the UVM Juggling Club. I had the opportunity to teach a lot of people how to juggle, and a lot of people can pick it up very fast within 1 hour. If you put in the practice, the time, the dedication, you'll be able to juggle too. It's a great activity, helps improve your coordination, helps improve your left hand if you're right-handed, and your right hand if you're left-handed, and it's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy this video. There's a lot of tricks in it. I'm going to teach you the basics of juggling 3 balls, a ton of tricks with 3 balls. We're going to learn how to do 4 balls and 5 balls, show you how to make balls if you don't have any, learn how to do some ring juggling and also some club juggling. So pick up your balls and be ready to juggle. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Canadians, my name is Will Roya, and I am the best juggler in the world in my price range. I'm here today to teach you how to juggle. We're going to learn how to do the 3-ball cascade. Don't worry if you don't have any balls. I'm going to teach you how to make them yourself. We're going to go on to some more advanced trick with 3 balls. We're going to learn how to do 4 balls, 5 balls, and I'm going to give you an introduction on how to juggle rings and clubs. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. I'm going to be using silicone balls throughout this juggling DVD for illustration purposes because I have 5 different colors. It's going to be easier for you to follow the tricks. I much prefer bean bags when I'm juggling just because they're easier to catch, and also when they drop they don't bounce around like these silicone balls. So for demonstration purposes we'll use the silicone balls, but I highly recommend that you get a good set of bean bags. Alright, time to learn the 3-ball cascade. The most important thing is make sure you're a little loosened up first, do some stretching. This is a little bit of an athletic activity, so you don't want to pull any muscles. And with any exercise program, make sure you get the advice from your doctor. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to hold the ball in the palm of your hand. We're going to learn how to do the cascade in 3 simple steps. You're going to hold the ball in your hand, and you don't want to hold it too forward and you don't want to hold it too back. You want to grip the ball, let your hand go, and that's where you want to release the ball and catch the ball. The most important thing in learning how to juggle is your throw, because if you throw the ball perfectly, you don't have to make some kind of desperate catch to catch the ball. And you also want to make sure that you keep your elbows in and your wrists down. Okay, so step 1, we're going to start with 1 ball here, and what we want to do is we want to picture a juggling frame. We want to keep the ball in this frame at all times. It's a 2-dimensional plane, if you will. It's going to start about mid-chest. It's going to go up a little bit higher than your head. It's going to be about shoulder width. You're just going to toss the ball up and catch it in your other hand. And remember, you want to keep those throws precise as possible. This seems really easy, but this is really the most important thing to master, is getting this perfect throw. Try and move your hand as less as possible. 1, 2. When you can do that 20 times in a row without dropping it, you're ready to go on to step 2. So when you stop or pause the DVD right now, practice that, and once you can do that 20 times in a row without dropping it, come back and we'll go on to step 2. Alrighty, now we're on to step 2 with 2 balls, okay? You're going to hold 1 ball in each hand. You're going to throw up 1 ball first. When that reaches the top of its arc, you're going to throw up the other ball underneath. So it's going to look like this. 1, 2. Now what a lot of people do when they mess up on this is they're going to throw the first ball up, they're going to panic, and they're going to toss the other ball from the other hand. So it's going to look like something like this. Oh no. You do not want to do that. It's much harder to juggle 3 balls in a circle like this than do the cascade, what we're teaching you. So once again, 2 balls in each hand, 1 ball in each hand, throw the first ball up. When that reaches the top of its arc, you're going to throw up the other ball underneath it. 1, 2. The ball you're throwing with your right hand is going to reach about right here. And when it reaches that top arc, throw the other one underneath. Once you can do that 20 times in a row, throwing with your right hand first, you want to go on to your left hand. And the left hand wants to reach right about here. And remember to keep in your juggling plane. And once you can do that 20 times in a row, starting with both hands, then you're ready to go on to step 3. So why don't you stop the DVD now and practice that part, and then come back when you have it mastered. Okay, step 3, time to learn the cascade. This is the hard part. And if you have any trouble with step 3, go back to step 1 and 2. It's always good when you're learning any trick in this DVD that if you have trouble with a certain section, go back a step, learn that part, and then move on. So, 3 balls, learning the cascade. You're going to hold 2 balls in your right hand, 1 in your left hand. It's going to go like this. Same thing with 2, 1, 2. You're going to throw a ball in your right hand up first. When that reaches the top of its arc, you're going to throw up the other ball underneath. And then when that reaches the top of its arc, you're going to repeat the process with your right hand. You only want to do 1 rotation to start, and then you're going to work up from that. So it's going to look like this right here. 1, 2, 3, stop. It's actually 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's throw, 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 catch. Throw, 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 catch. And then try it back the other way. Throw, 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 catch. That's called a flash. Throwing 1 object each time and catching it each time. Once you can do 2 full rotations with that, then you're an actual juggler, so it looked like this. Okay, that's a full juggle right there. So, practice that, and if you have trouble with it, I'll give you a few tips. Okay, so I showed you the 3 basic steps of learning how to juggle. I'd like to make it more complicated for you, but it really isn't more complicated than that. Step 2 is really the most important part with 2 balls like this. As I said, most people are going to do a feed rather than throw it up like that. One thing too, if you're having trouble moving on to 3, go back to 2 and try this. Keep it going continuously like this. And you notice there's a little space in that pattern. Try tapping your thigh. Okay, that's where the 3rd ball is going to go every time you tap your thigh. Some other troubles you may have is you may be running forward when you try and juggle. The problem with that is your wrists may be cocked forward. So you want to make sure your wrists are parallel to the floor, just like your arm. Another thing to try too is stand in front of your bed. That way you can't concentrate on not running forward, and also if you drop the props, you don't have to bend all the way over to pick them up. So practice step 1, step 2, and step 3 and work your way up. Another tip for when you're learning the cascade is you always want to make sure that you throw your balls on the inside. A lot of you will be trying to throw them all sorts of ways, just trying to get the balls up in the air. Make sure you always throw the balls in the inside. You want to create an infinity pattern, a figure 8 sideways. That's the actual pattern of the cascade. So remember, always throw the balls underneath the approaching ball coming down to your hand. Alrighty, now once you have the cascade mastered, you're probably going to be juggling a little bit higher, like this. You want to work on bringing the cascade down to a more manageable level, so you look comfortable doing it, your shoulders aren't high up, like this. So work on keeping that cascade low and in an even rhythm. And then work on bringing the cascade higher, and then bring it down. Slowly bring it up, and slowly bring it down. This will give you much more control when you work on more advanced trick with 3 balls. You also want to try to get the cascade as wide apart as you can. A lot of the tricks we'll be learning are variations of the cascade, and this is usually the trick that people go back to between their more difficult tricks in their routines. So let's go on to our first tricks with 3 balls. Alright, now that you're getting the hang of the cascade, you want to work on doing different things with the cascade. You're probably bringing it up a little bit too high right now, and that's okay when you're first learning how to do it, but remember, try and keep your shoulders down. As you get more comfortable with the cascade, bring it even lower, as low as you can. Then work on bringing it high, then slowly bringing it down. Also want to try and get it as wide as possible too. The Cascade is a very versatile juggle, and it's the basis for a lot of the 3-ball advanced tricks that we'll be learning on. So make sure you have this down, and we'll be going on to more advanced tricks with 3 balls. One of the first things we're going to learn how to do is juggle 2 balls in one hand. A lot of people learn how to do this before they actually learn how to juggle 3 balls. The easiest way to do it is in what's called a fountain pattern. It's basically juggling 2 balls in a circle, like so. You're going to throw the ball, and you're going to catch it on the outside. You're going to throw it from the inside and catch it on the outside. So your hand's going to be going into a circular motion. It's going to be going clockwise. So there's really no easy way to break this down. Basically, just grab 2 balls in your hand and try throwing them up in a circle. So this is called 2 balls in one hand in a fountain pattern. You can also do it in what's called a column pattern, or in the fork pattern, which basically 1 ball stays always to the outside, the purple one in this case. Another way you can do it is also do the reverse fountain. And you want to make sure that you get proficient in both hands, because doing 2 in one hand is going to be the basis for doing 4 balls later on. Now we're going to be learning the right, middle, left pattern. This is one of the easiest patterns to learn. It's a little bit different than the Cascade because you're going to actually be throwing right, right, left, left, rather than right, left, right, left. You're going to start with 2 balls in your right hand, 1 in your left. You're going to throw the ball in your right hand up, throw up the second one, and then throw up the ball in your left hand, and then catch the center ball. So it's going to look like this. It's going to go. And it's called right, middle, left because you're going right, middle, and left. But notice the throws. Right, 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 middle, left. And the left hand is actually throwing twice, and the left hand's throwing twice. So left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right. Left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right. Simple trick, but it's a basis to some more advanced tricks that we'll be learning later on. So you want to make sure you practice that one. Now I'd like to show you the half shower. This is a simple variation of the Cascade. To do this trick, you're going to want to juggle the Cascade, and you're going to be throwing a ball over the top of the pattern continuously. To learn this trick, you want to start out with just 1 throw. With all the tricks that we're learning, it's best to try it 1 throw at a time and work your way up until you master the trick. So we're going to start with the yellow ball and just throw that ball over the top. So it's going to look like this. Okay, you notice that I broke away from the Cascade pattern for a second, but then it goes directly back into the pattern, into that infinity figure over the top. Once you can do that once, try it twice, 1, 2, and then try it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, work your way up to it, and then try it continuously. A little hint on this is the throw, whichever throw you're doing over the top with your opposite hand, you're going to want to throw that ball a little bit shorter, a little bit not as high. So it's going to look like this. You notice the balls in my left hand are not going as high. And this is an asymmetrical trick, so you can do it from both sides. You can also do it with your left hand going the other way. This is a very simple variation of the cascade known as the half shower. Now we're going to go into juggling tennis. If you have the half shower mastered, this is a very easy trick to do. Make sure you have the half shower mastered from both your right hand and your left hand. Basically all this is you're going to be throwing one ball over the top continuously each time from your right hand over your left hand. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to do it with the yellow ball. It's going to go from right hand to left, right, left. You notice that the pink and the purple ball just stay in the normal cascade pattern. They're still doing the infinity symbol below there. But the yellow ball is just staying in an arc. You want to do just two small passes with those pink and purple ball and a wider arc. And you can do this yellow ball much higher like so, or you can do it wider. And this is known as tennis. Now we're going to go into the reverse cascade. Once you have the half showered master with the over the top throw, this will be easy to pick up because all this trick is each throw is going to go over the top, no under throws. So it's going to look a little something like this. The easiest way to learn this trick is to master that half shower from both sides and then add it in slowly. Try doing the half shower from your right and then reverse it like this. Then reverse it every time. Remember, just each throw goes over the top, so you're not wanting to throw it from the inside, but throw it through the outside. And that is the reverse cascade. Now we're going to go into the underarm throw. This is a very easy trick. It's not very impressive, but it's a basis you need for tricks later on that we're going to master that are more difficult, such as Mills Mess. All it is, if you're just going to do it with one ball, you're going to simply throw the ball underneath your opposite hand like this. And just like with the overhand throw, you can do this continuously from one side, or like tennis, you can reverse it every time. So if you're doing it with 3 balls, go into your cascade and just try it with one throw at first. There we go, we just threw the yellow ball under. Then work your way up, do 2, then do 3. Then try and do it continuously for as many throws as you can. And again, this is an asymmetrical trick, so you want to make sure you have this trick mastered from both sides. And if you want to do a variation from tennis, instead of going over the top, you can have each ball go underneath. So watch the yellow ball. We'll do an example of that real quick. And that is the underarm throw. I'd like to show you a comic trick now. This trick's called the gorilla. It's pretty easy to do. I like to use bean bags. It's much easier to do this trick using bean bags. You're just going to start with your normal cascade. You're going to throw one ball high, and as that ball is going high, you're going to place the other ball underneath your armpit like this. Okay, that's step one. Okay, once that ball's in your armpit, you immediately want to take with your other hand, put it underneath your other armpit. As your hand's coming down, you drop the ball and place the other ball underneath your armpit, and you repeat the process. And you usually get a good laugh if you add a little sound effects. And that is the gorilla. Alright, now we're going to go into some bounces. If you have the Cascade Master, these are some good tricks to do. You can just throw a ball out of its pattern and try and bounce it somewhere off your body. For example, you can bounce a ball off your head, go back in the Cascade. You can do it off your elbow, forearm, back of your elbow. You can do it off your knee, and all other sorts of places that you'd like to do it. And those are just simple bounces. You go into some hacky sack, kick it back up into your cascade. Very easy trick to do, takes a little bit of practice, and it's pretty impressive to the audience. Here's another simple variation of the cascade. This trick's called arches. It's kind of a combination of underthrow, overthrow. What you're going to try and accomplish is keep each ball in its own arc. You're going to have one ball going in a high arc, one ball in a medium arc, and one ball in a small arc. There's really no easy way to break this trick into steps. So you just want to go into your cascade. You're really going to want to start doing the tennis trick with one ball going over the top, and then with the two remaining below it, you're going to try and get one ball to each actually go a little bit lower. So it's going to look something like this. Notice the yellow ball's in the middle, the orange ball's down low, and the purple's at the top. And that trick is called arches. Alright, now we're going to do a more difficult version of the cascade. This next trick is called chops. You might want to start this trick with one ball. Here's your normal cascade throw like this. Now, instead of doing the normal throw, you're actually going to bring the ball down, chop it through the pattern, and throw it back up like this. So you're chopping through and throwing it back up on the other side. Chopping through, throwing it back up on the other side. Chopping through, throwing it back up on the other side. So in almost every trick that we learn how to do on this DVD, you want to break it down. So start with your normal cascade and try it with one ball first. So when the yellow ball comes back around to the right hand, we're going to try one chop. See how I toss it through the pattern and I threw it back up on the other side. We'll do that again. Okay, now we're going to do it continuously from the right hand. Okay, and then once you have it mastered with one hand, try it with your other hand. And when you can do that, you want to add them together. Just try a couple at a time. 1, 2, and then go for more. And that is called the chop. Next we're going to do the shower. This is how a lot of people learn how to juggle at first, just because it seems like the simplest way, and all it is juggling balls on a circle. If you ever see a picture of a clown, you're going to be seeing him do the shower trick. It's where they have all the balls going in a circle around them. Unlike the cascade, which is each ball going under, each ball is going to have the exact same throw in the pattern. So we're going to start with one ball for this. Now the shower is an asymmetrical pattern. You can either do it right or left. Learn it going the opposite way of your strong hand. So you're going to be throwing with your right hand first, and you're simply going to throw it to your other hand, and then you're going to feed the ball to your other hand. A feed is when you pass a ball from hand to hand like that. If I ever say feed the ball, that's a feed. Okay? So you're going to throw the ball up, and you're going to feed it to the other hand as fast as possible. Pretty easy. Now you're going to go on to two balls. You're going to throw one up. When that goes about halfway down, about right here, you're going to throw up the other ball. You're going to feed the other ball to your hand. Like so. And then you want to try and do it as fast as you can in a low circle, and then go higher. When you can do that without dropping it and do it as fast as you can, you're ready to go on to three. Now this is very difficult to do at first. It's going to take you a little bit of practice. And if you have trouble with three, you keep on dropping a lot, then you want to go back to two. Basically, you're going to hold two in your right hand, one in your left. You're going to throw up the one in your right hand. When that reaches about halfway, you're going to throw up the one in your right hand again, and then feed. So basically, you're going to be throwing and feeding almost at the same time. So it's going to look something like this. So that's a shower right there. And when you're first learning it, you can go a little bit higher. That will give you a little bit more time to feed the balls. And once you have the shower mastered going with your right hand, try it with your left hand. It's much more difficult doing it with your off hand. And then once you have the shower master on both sides, you may want to try it going from the cascade to the shower, going back to the cascade. And that is the shower. Right now I'm going to show you a trick called the box, and it's called the box because it basically looks like a box without a top on it. And all this trick is the shower reversed every time. So if you're doing the shower, reversed it, but reversed it every time, then you would be doing the box. Now, to learn this trick, you got to break it down into a couple steps. First, you're going to start with one ball, and all you want to practice doing is tossing it back and forth as fast as you can. As we learned in the shower, this is called a feed. So you're going to feed back and forth, as fast as you can. When your hand's empty, that's when the other ball you're going to be throwing up. So throw, throw, throw. Then you want to practice it with two balls. This is a very quick move here. Throw it in a column. As this ball is going up, you're going to toss it over to your empty hand, and as it's coming down, you're going to pass it back. Once you can do that with your right hand, practice it with your left hand. And then you can practice doing more of a full version of this with just two balls. Now you're ready to go to three. Two in your right hand, one in your left. Throw one up straight up in your right hand, and you're just going to go for it. And once again, with the other tricks, if you're having trouble with it, break it down. So say if you're doing your shower, try it a couple times. If you're having trouble with one side, go back into the shower. And that is called the box. Once you have it mastered, you can work on getting that box smaller and wider, just like we did with the cascade. Now I'd like to show you a variation of the box. This is called the extended box. And all this is a shower toss while you're doing the box trick, but you're actually going to shift to the side so it doesn't look like a shower throw. So it's going to look something like this. Here's the normal box right here. Then we're going to shift it. You notice the purple ball always stays in the center. It looks like we're doing a double box here. So how you're going to break this down is once you get into your normal box trick, you're going to practice throwing a shower throw from each hand. So it's going to look something like this. Now you don't want to throw it across with the extended box. Instead you're going to want to shift to the side and then shift to the other side. One ball is always going to stay in the center column. So it's going to look something like this. Start up from the box and then work on going from side to side. And with that center ball, which in this case is the purple one, try and keep that going straight up and down. So you're giving an illusion that you're almost doing two boxes. This is called the extended box. Now I'm going to show you one of the most requested tricks that people like me to show them. This is called the claw, or as they say in England, the snatch. Now, it looks a little something like this. Basically, all you're doing is doing the cascade with your hands reversed. How you're going to learn this trick is practice the catch and the throw with your hands reversed. So you're going to throw the ball with your palm facing down and catch the ball. You want to catch it as hard as you can and as fast as you can. Catch it on the way down. It looks like I'm catching up here, but I'm really coming down with the ball and not catching it until it's lower. Once you have that mastered, go back into your cascade and just practice with one ball at a time. So when the orange ball comes around to my right hand, I'm going to snatch that ball. Then practice every ball on your right hand. Then work on your left hand. Then try and do with both hands. And if you need to, when you learn this trick, throw the balls a little bit higher. That will give you more time to claw them, but the lower you do it, the lower you throw the balls, the faster you can do it, and the more impressive it will look. Okay, another tip with a claw is when you're releasing the ball, you just want to release it on your way up, which leaves you in position to catch the next ball. So it's not as much as a throw, whereas just letting go of the ball as you're reaching up to snatch or claw the next ball. Alright, now I'd like to demonstrate columns. This is one of the more popular juggling tricks, and there's infinite number of variations you can do this trick. I'm just going to have time to show you a few of them. But all this trick is you're going to be throwing one ball in the center, and you're going to be throwing two balls on either side, on the right and left column. So it's going to look like this. And if you notice, all I'm doing is juggling two balls in one hand. And I'm just throwing this ball up in my left hand like this. So first you want to just master doing two in one hand. And you also want to do it with your left hand proficiently, because then you can do a lot of the other tricks with it. So to do the basic column, throw one ball in the center, and the other two on its side. And actually switch which hand catches it in the center each time if you want to keep this trick symmetrical. A variation of the columns is a fake. It looks a little something like this. Basically, all you're doing is moving this hand up and down instead of throwing it straight up and down. You're never letting go of the ball. You can actually switch it with both sides. Now there's tons of variations you can do with this fake. You can make it, there's a trick called the yo-yo, which instead of doing it with the outside ball, you put it on top of the ball so it looks a little something like this. So it looks like there's a string attached between the balls. You can move the ball around the circle, over your head. Tons of different variations on that. So play around with that, you'll have a lot of fun. Now I'll show you some other tricks you can do with the columns by moving the odd ball out, that center ball. You can move that ball to the outside on the right, to the left. You can do kind of a variation in the box where you feed the ball underneath every throw. You can do over, which is variation of tennis. And yet another variation of columns is you can do things with the two outside balls, but keep the center ball going up. One of them is to do them over the top. Now a trick to learning this, if you throw the balls and have them try and hit each other, usually they'll miss. So that's a good tip for learning that. Because if you actually just give them a random toss, they'll probably hit each other and the balls will go all over the place. Another variation with doing the columns, with doing something with the two outside balls, is to do a feed underneath, a little two-ball shower, so it looks a little something like this. I like combining that with the overhand throw, throwing it up, doing a little feed, and going back into it. And those are some variations with columns. Now I'd like to show you the trickle down, or otherwise known as the Statue of Liberty, because you look something like the Statue of Liberty while doing this trick. Now it's best to break this trick down. Start with one ball. It's easiest to do this trick with your weak hand being the high hand and your strong hand being the low hand, which is my right hand. You're going to throw the ball up, and you want to throw it in an arc. You just don't want to throw it straight to your hand, so it's going to look something like this. Notice I'm kind of throwing it over like this, not straight to the hand. And all you're going to do with your left hand is you're going to let the ball drop. It's going to naturally fall out at an angle. Once you can do that a few times without dropping it, you're ready to go on to two. You're going to do the same thing, but it's very important not to release that ball in your upper hand until the other ball is right on top of it. So it's going to look something like this. Alright, once you have that mastered, you're ready to go on to three. The easiest way to learn it with three is you're going to hold two in your strong hand, your right hand, one in your weak hand, your left hand, and you're just going to go into it into a circle. And remember, don't let this ball go until the other ball is right on top of it. So it's going to look something like this. Now you can also go into this from the cascade. You're basically going to want to throw one ball high, a self-throw, to your right hand, and then raise up your weak hand and go into it. So it's going to look something like this. And I like to go into straight over the head. And that is the trickle down or the Statue of Liberty. Now I'd like to teach you the windmill. Basically all this trick is overhand throws and underhand throws. So it looks something like this. Every throw from my right hand is an overhand throw, and every throw from my left hand is an underarm throw, giving it the illusion of the windmill. To break this windmill trick down, we're going to start it from the left hand going to the right hand. So we're going to throw an underarm throw from our left hand over to our right hand. And the right hand's almost going to be reaching for it in the trick. So you're really going to be concentrating when you're doing that underarm throw, almost throwing it back to your left hand. Your right hand's going to reach over, scoop it back, and throw it over. So it's going to look like this with just one ball. Once you have that mastered, two balls, one under, one over. So this goes under. I'm going to be throwing this ball over. I'm going to catch it with the left hand, and I'm going to catch this orange ball with my right. Under, over. Then you're ready for three balls. I recommend starting this trick from the cascade. It's easiest to go into it rather than starting off from a dead start. So you're going to be doing your cascade. You're going to start with your overhand throw from your right hand. Okay. Then you're going to be doing underarm throws from your left hand. So it looks a little something like this. Now this is an asymmetrical trick, so you have to learn this both ways. This is actually the trick that you're going to go into, have to learn the Mills mess. So you want to learn it from both ways. This is going to the left, and the other way is to the right. And that is the windmill. Alright, now I'm going to teach you the very difficult trick, Mills Mess. It's called the Mills Mess because a gentleman named Steve Mills made this trick popular. He's still performing today, performs at fairs with his family. A great juggler if you ever get a chance to see him and his family perform. Now, what makes this trick so great is it looks like you almost have three hands while you're doing it because they're always crossing and uncrossing. All it is a manipulation of the cascade. As you notice, each ball has its own pattern. The pink ball is always going underneath, and the yellow and orange ball are just following each other, almost in an infinity pattern. Now there's 6 steps to learn this, but I'm going to teach you in 2 simple steps instead. To master this trick, you need to know how to do the windmill from both sides. Say if you're doing from the windmill from the right, and you switch it over, and go to the left, and you switch it every time, then you're doing the Mills Miss. It's a very difficult trick. It's going to take you a while to learn. I recommend that you watch this tape in slow motion. Sometimes you can learn this trick by pausing at certain points in the pattern. I don't really recommend that. That's how a lot of people learn. I really recommend that you learn the windmill from both sides, and you switch it in between, and that will give your hands a natural cross action. And that is the Mills mess. Is that good? Now I'd like to show you a little variation on the Mills mess. This is a Mills mess with a feed, and if you remember the feed's when the ball just goes back to forth, back and forth. So it looks a little something like this. Here's a normal Mills mess, and I'm just going to do a simple feed with a lower ball, and the balls are going to switch positions. So it looks like this. There's one time, and you can actually do it every time. And you do that feed when your hands are uncrossing. And that is the Mills mess with a feed. Alright, now I'd like to show you a trick called Burke's Barrage. This is a variation of the trick that I showed earlier, right, middle, left, because each ball stays in its respective right, middle, left column, and unlike the traditional cascade where it's right, left throws, it's right, right, left, left. So if you didn't learn the right, middle, left, why don't you go back and learn that? It looked a little something like this. And we're going to be manipulating that to look something more like this. Now, how you're going to learn this trick is I like to learn it with my arms crossed. You're going to hold two balls in your right hand, one in your left. You really have to learn this with three balls. There's no other easier way to learn this. You're going to throw the two balls with your right hand up first. You're going to throw, your right hand's going to be throwing the left column and the middle column. And then you're going to bring your left hand over, and that's going to throw the ball into the right column. So it's going to look like this. And then I would stop right there. So it's going to go, right hand's going to throw left, middle, left hand crosses over and throws on the right side. And then practice that the other way. So it's going to look the other way. Your left hand's going to throw in the right column, the middle column. Your right hand's going to swing around and throw in the left column. And then stop. And then you're going to add that all together and keep going. You can also do a variation on this trick. You notice each time I'm catching the outside balls, I'm bringing them over and tossing them under. You don't have to bring them over. You can actually bring the ball through the pattern or underneath the pattern, which would look a little something like this. Here's over the top. And again, notice how the purple ball stays on the left, the pink stays on the right, and the orange always stays in the middle. Now let's bring the ball through the middle. And here's underneath. And back to over. And that is the Burke's Barrage. Good luck. Now I'd like to give you an explanation of the chest roll. You're going to be doing the 3-ball cascade. You want to slowly bring that cascade towards your chest. You want to lean forward, let the ball hit between your breasts, roll down, and catch a ball with your opposite hand, just like the cascade. You really want to lean back a little bit on this trick because the gravity won't take the ball down so fast. And you can practice this starting out with one ball just like you did the cascade, letting it roll down, catch it with the other ball, then do two, then do three. And the neat thing about this trick is you can do it by feel, so once you have it going, you can look up and smile to the audience and not actually have to look at your hands while you're juggling. Now we're going to do throws behind the back. That's when you throw the ball behind the back, it comes up over your other shoulder and you catch it. You can actually do this trick continuously. There's also another trick where you actually juggle behind the back, but we're not going to be discussing that trick in this video because I can't do it. So let's start out with behind the back. You're going to start with a 3-ball cascade, and you're simply going to throw one ball behind your back and let it go back in the pattern. It looks like this. Now, just like with a lot of the tricks that we're learning, we'll break that down with one ball. Hold the ball in your hand, you're going to reach behind your back, and you're going to toss it. You're not going to toss it till it reaches almost all the way on the other side. And you want to throw it right over your shoulder so the ball lands in your hand. You won't have to move it that much. We'll give you a back view of that. So that's what it looked like from behind the back. Once you have that mastered, you're ready to go and try it with 2 balls. You're going to do behind the back first. As that ball is coming over the shoulder, release this ball and just toss it to your other hand. And practice that both ways. Then you're ready to go into 3 balls. Start your cascade. When you feel comfortable and ready, do a behind the back toss. And what you want to work your way up to here is continuous back throws, each throw going behind the back. So once you feel comfortable on one side, you can do it continuously from your right side, practice on your left side. Then practice one ball going behind the back every time. We're going to try that with a yellow ball. Okay, and once you can go continuously from both sides, try throwing just one ball behind the back from each side. So we're going to, every time the yellow ball is thrown, it's going to be thrown behind the back. It will look a little something like this. Then once you have it with one ball going behind the back for every throw, you can try and do it continuously, which should look a little something like this. And that is behind the back. Now I'd like to demonstrate a good way to end a routine. This is called a neck catch. And this trick is exactly how it sounds. You're going to throw a ball up in the air and you're going to catch it on your neck. It's a little hard to do with silicone balls. It's easier to do with bean bags because they're softer, but I'm going to demonstrate with the silicone balls because I can. Now start out from doing your 3-ball cascade. You're going to throw the ball up you're going to throw it a little bit over your head, and you're going to lean forward, and you want to just catch the ball on the back of your head, and then catch it between your neck and your back. So it's going to look something like this from the forward view, and then we'll do the side view. There's the front, and now the side view for the net catch. Now, what are you going to do when you catch the ball on your neck? Well, there's 3 ways to get out of this. When you have the ball on your neck, you can spread your arms, take your bow. You can catch the ball behind your back. It's actually 4, I'm sorry, I lied. Or flip it back up into the pattern and continue juggling. Or my favorite, catch it on the back of your neck and roll it down your back between your legs and catch it. Alright, now we're going to do one of the most popular tricks to learn once you have the cascade, the 3-ball cascade master, and this is the under the leg throw. It looks a little something like this. Now how you're going to learn this trick is first you're just going to start with 1 ball, and you're simply going to toss it underneath your leg and catch it with your other hand. So it looks something like that. And you want to practice with both legs. I personally prefer throwing from the outside of my leg in, but you may prefer throwing from the inside out. It's totally up to you. Once you have this throw mastered under the leg, you can practice it with 2 balls. Throw one underneath the leg first. As that's coming up, just throw the other ball to your other hand, so it looks like this. And make sure you practice it with both legs. Once you have that mastered, you're ready to go on to 3 balls. Do your cascade, and when you feel comfortable, try one of the throws underneath the leg and back into the cascade. You're never missing a beat. You're just staying with the cascade, but instead 1 ball's going underneath the leg. And it looks really impressive if you switch every other leg. And that is under the leg. Now I'd like to demonstrate the pirouette for you. That's where we throw a ball up in the air, spin 360 degrees, and catch the ball again. It's a great way to add a flourish to the middle of your juggling routine or to finish your routine. To learn the pirouette, start out with no balls. I like to spin on my left foot and push off with my right foot. So you're going to push with your right foot, use your upper body, and it's best to try and create a straight spine as possible. That will help you spin more accurately. Pick a point in front of you, mark that spot, and turn around as fast as you can and come back to that spot. Otherwise, you're not going to catch a juggling pattern and you're going to drop the ball. So it's going to look like this, fast motion. And you can also use that right foot to stop you. So once you have that down, just try it with 1 ball. You want to throw it up, spin around, and catch it. When you first start this, throw it up high. And as you get the pirouette, you can throw it lower so you can work on spinning faster and trying to catch it. Once you have that down, try and do it while juggling. Juggle the 3 balls. When you first learn it, just throw one up and attempt to catch it, but then don't continue juggling, just do a stop, like this. Ta-da, that's a great way to finish your act. Or throw one up and continue juggling. And that is an example of the pirouette. Now I'd like to show you a variation of the 3-ball shower. This is a 3-ball shower with a 2-ball shower underneath. It looks a little something like this. As you're doing the 3-ball shower, you're going to throw 1 ball high, and you're going to do a 2-ball shower underneath that ball. So it looks something like this. Now how are you going to learn this variation of the 3-ball shower? So I want to make sure you have your 2-ball shower as fast as possible. All you're going to do is throw up that ball high enough so you have time to do 1 2-ball rotation. You're going to throw up 1 ball high and 2 go underneath. A good hint for this trick is spot the ball at the top of its arc. And when you see where the top of the ball arcs, you can usually estimate where the ball will come down. And that's a little variation of the 3-ball shower. Now I'd like to show you the shuffle trick. We call it the shuffle because it looks a little something like shuffling a deck of cards. Now to break this trick down, you want to practice throwing a ball from your strong hand to your weak hand in a downward throw motion. You're really going to use your wrists a lot in this one. So it's going to look like this. And you're going to throw it back over a little toss. So it's going to look like this, back over, toss. Now the interesting thing with this trick, there's going to be 2 balls going in that shuffle motion. And in the space, you're just going to be throwing 1 ball with your weak hand, which in my case is my left hand, just up and down. So now we're going to do it with 2 balls. You notice I'm throwing the shuffle throw, the hard throw down, is going under the toss. You notice that little space right there, that space is going to be when you're throwing the left ball up straight in the air and it's going to be coming back down. So now we're going to do the shuffle with 3 balls. Start with your cascade. You're going to do a self-toss with your left hand to go into it and start out by simply going into it by throwing 1 down to get the beat going. So it looks a little something like this. You notice the blue ball always stays in my hand. And that is the shuffle. Alright, now I'd like to show you some fancy 3-ball starts. There's 2 ways I like to start. It's either taking all 3 balls, throwing them underneath the leg, going into the grab or the snatch and catching them all, or throwing all 3 behind the back. It looks something like this. Here's under the leg first. There's a fancy start, 3 balls under the leg. Then we'll do it behind the back. That's behind the back. Now, to practice this trick, I would start out with just throwing 2 balls behind your back or underneath your leg, so it looks something like this. So I'm going to throw these 2 balls underneath my leg. As these 2 balls are up in the air, I'm going to throw the pink ball up in the air and snatch the 2 that went under my leg. So it'll look a little something like this. And then when you get more comfortable doing that, you can attempt to do 3. The best way to do this is grab 2. The 2, when they come up underneath, they're going to kind of spread as in a triangle, and you're going to want to grab the 2 on the side, throw one of those up as fast as you can, and then grab the center one and go into a cascade. So again, it looks something like this. And you want to try the same thing behind the back. First start with 2 behind the back, then work your way up to 3. And those are some fancy 3-ball starts. Now I'd like to demonstrate blind juggling. It's a hard trick to learn, but it is possible. And once you have the cascade mastered, what you want to do is you just want to close your eyes slowly and try and continue juggling with your eyes closed. So do the cascade as low as possible and then close your eyes. Try it for a few seconds and then open your eyes. And then work your time up so you can do it longer. What I like to do is during my show, I like to demonstrate this trick by putting a big tin bucket over my head, because they obviously know you can't see through a tin bucket to juggle. So that is juggling blind. It's a fun trick to do. I recommend practicing it on the floor, sitting down, because you're going to drop it a lot when you first learn it. Okay, now we're ready to learn 4 balls. A lot of people who've learned 3, their most questions, they don't want to know any tricks, they want to know, how can I juggle 4 balls? Well, you got to go back to learning 2 in one hand. And the best way to learn 2 in one hand is to do the fountain, rotating in a circle. You want to make sure you have this mastered perfectly in both hands, because the best and easiest way to do 4 balls is you're going to do 2 in each hand, a fountain, off sync, which means off synchronization. Okay? So it's going to look a little like this. Now if you have trouble with that, really practice doing your right hand, switch to your left hand immediately. And just like when you were learning 3 balls in the cascade, do 4 tosses, which would be your flash, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. And then try and go a little bit further until you have it mastered. And that is the basic 4-ball juggle. It's a fountain. You're always going to juggle even number objects. If you're going to juggle 6 balls, the easiest way to be doing that would do a fountain. You can't juggle a cascade with 4 balls. There would be a gap in it. But I will show you a way to juggle 4 balls with them crossing. But for now, practice that 4-ball fountain, and we're going to go on to some more difficult 4-ball tricks. Alright, now just like we could do the reverse cascade, you can also do the reverse fountain. It's basically going to be doing 2 in each hand, but instead of going from the inside out, you're going to go from the outside in. So we're going to demonstrate the 4-ball reverse fountain off sync. It'll look a little something like this. So I'm going to start with it going the regular fountain, then I'm going to go into the reverse. One trick to learning the reverse fountain is to try just the reverse fountain with one hand while doing the regular fountain with the other. So it looks something like this. Doing the regular fountain with both hands, I will now do the reverse fountain with my right hand. And you can switch that over, also try it with your left. And then go back to trying it both. And that is the reverse fountain. Now we were demonstrating the 4-ball fountain reverse fountain off sync. That means alternating the throws, but you can also throw the balls at the same time. It doesn't look as good, but some people find this easier to master 4 balls, so definitely give it a try, and it's a trick within itself. So you're just going to be throwing balls both at the same time. Instead of going 1, 2, you're just going to go 1, 2. So that was a 4-ball fountain in sync. Now we'll do the 4-ball reverse fountain in sync. You can also mix it up too, just like we did before, learning the reverse fountain. You can have one hand doing the reverse fountain in sync with the other hand doing the regular fountain, which would look a little something like this. Also looks neat if you reverse each throw. Remember how we did the two-ball juggle with the fork? Well, that's all this is, doing the fork with both hands with 4 balls. And those are a few variations with doing in sync fountain and reverse fountain. This next trick is called the 4-4-1. It's sight swap notation for juggling. It's a mathematical formula. All you have to know is the 4s mean a straight up throw high up in the air, and the 1 is the feed. So the 4-4-1 looks a little like this. It's a very difficult move with 3 balls. It looks and feels like you're juggling 4 balls. It's a symmetrical pattern. How it works is you're going to throw 2 4s, which is basically straight up, 1, 2, and on the third throw you're going to pass it from your right hand to your left hand. So the first 3 throws are going to look like this, 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to repeat the process with your left hand, 1, 2, 3. Back from the right hand, 1, 2, 3. And then you just keep it going. And that is called the 4-4-1. Now we're going to demonstrate the 4-ball half shower. It's a little bit different than the 3-ball half shower because you're actually going to be throwing from both hands at the same time. It's not going to be right, left. It's going to be both hands at the same time tossing the balls. The easiest way to get into this trick is to do columns on sync. So you're going to do columns on sync like this, and you're basically going to throw that outside ball over the top. The other hand, the other ball in the other hand is going to throw underneath. So it's going to look something like this. You notice my right hand is always throwing the ball over the top, and my left hand's always throwing the ball underneath, and you can obviously reverse that and half shower from the left or the right, and that is known as a 4-ball half shower. Now I'll demonstrate the 5-3. I like to go into it from the fountain because it's a right-left movement, unlike the reverse shower, which is throwing both balls at the same time. So let's start from the fountain and then go into the 5-3. Looks a little something like this. Notice my right hand is throwing the ball higher. That's the 5 throw. And the throw for my left hand is a 3 throw, the lower one. And the higher ball always goes under the short throw. And that's a 5-3. You can also do that throwing the high ball from your left hand if your left hand's stronger, or to reverse the pattern. Now I'm going to demonstrate doing columns with 4 balls. That's where each ball is going to stay in its respective column, just like we did with 3, but now we're doing 4. First we're going to do on sync 4-ball columns. Looks something like this. But one of my favorite tricks with 4 balls is to do 4-ball columns off sync, otherwise known as pistons. And once again, with most of 4-ball tricks, all you're doing is a 2-hand trick, but with both hands. You're just going back to that old 2-hand trick, doing 2 balls, 1 hand columns. Now I'd like to demonstrate the 4-ball shower for you. There's no easy way to learn this trick. It's somewhat difficult. You have to really master the 3-ball shower and have that down solid before you even attempt this trick. All you're going to be doing is going to be juggling the 4 balls in the circular pattern, with your strong hand throwing the ball high and your weak hand feeding the ball to your strong hand. So if you remember, the 3-ball shower looked a little something like this. The 4-ball shower is going to be much higher, so once you have that 3-ball shower down, practice doing the 3-ball shower a little bit higher to prepare for the 4-ball shower. It'll look a little something like this. Now I'll demonstrate the 4-ball shower. Notice how high I have to throw the balls from my right hand to my left hand so they can feed them fast enough to that right hand. You really have to throw them high so you have enough time to do that. And there's a 4-ball shower. Now I'd like to teach you how to juggle 5 balls. 5 balls is going to take you a little bit longer to learn than probably 4 balls did. A lot of people ask me, how difficult is it to juggle 5 balls? Well, I usually say 4 balls is about 10 times harder than to juggle 3 balls, and 5 balls is about 10 times harder than 4 balls. So make sure you have 4 balls mastered, and then we'll show you some tips on 5 balls. Now, some simple exercises to do before you attempt to do 5 balls is you want to have 3 balls. The 5-ball pattern is the same as a 3-ball cascade, but it's higher and more balls and much faster. You're going to be juggling the 3-ball cascade, and this is an easy way to prepare for those 2 extra balls that's going to be in the pattern. You're going to flash the 3 balls, throw them up high, all 3 in the row, and you're going to attempt to clap your hands twice. So it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, and then clap twice. 1, 2, 3, clap twice. And what those 2 claps represent is the 2 more throws when you're going to have 5 balls. So practice that, and when you can do that consistently 20 times in a row, come back and you're ready for the next exercise. Another good exercise to do besides a clap with the 3 balls when you're preparing for 5 balls is to slap your thighs. So you're going to do the 3-ball flash, and then you're going to slap your thighs 1, 2, because that will give you the pattern of the 1, 2, the 2 extra ball throw. So it'll look a little something like this. And once you can do that consistently for 20 times in a row without dropping it, you're ready to go on to the next exercise to prepare for 5 balls. Now, this next exercise, we're going to use 4 balls to prepare to juggle 5 balls. This is a trick I didn't show in the 4-ball segment because I was saving it for here. Basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to attempt to be juggling 4 balls in a cascade. That isn't possible. You can only juggle even objects in a fountain. You juggle odd objects in a cascade. So what you're going to do is you're going to cross the balls, but there's going to be an empty space when you get to that 5th throw. So you're actually going to be throwing 2 right-hand throws and 2 left-hand throws in a row. But this is a great exercise to prepare to juggle 5 balls. And it looks a little something like this. Notice 2 rights, 2 lefts, and you'll see the empty space where the 5th ball will go. Probably notice that empty space as I was throwing 2 rights and 2 lefts. That would be where the 5th ball would go. So master that trick right there, and you'll be well on your way to attempt to juggle 5 balls. Now, another exercise to do with 3 balls to prepare for juggling 5 balls is a trick with 3 balls called the snake. And this is good to get the rhythm and feel of the 5 balls, and also get used to catching 3 balls in one hand, because you're always going to have to catch or start with 3 balls in one hand when you juggle 5 balls. So how you're going to do this snake is you're going to start out with 3 balls in your right hand. You're going to throw them as fast as you can and catch them all in your left hand. So it's going to look something like this. And then you want to repeat the process going back to your other hand. So you get used to catching 3 balls in your hand and throwing 3 balls in your hand. And another process is you want to throw all 3 balls and then throw them all back as fast as you can. Master that, and you're well on your way to learning 5 balls. For this next step on demonstrating how to learn 5 balls, I'm going to show you with the bean bags. This is also a good way to learn other tricks too if you're having a lot of trouble with them. You're going to want to hold 5 balls, 3 in your strong hand, 2 in your weak hand. You're going to throw all 5 up and just let them hit the floor. And basically what that accomplishes, you're going to have a panic attack when you first try and learn this just because you have so many things in the air. What you want to accomplish with this is you want to throw each ball up separately and hear an even drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you have even space throws, you want to work on just catching the first ball you throw and letting the other 4 drop. So it would look a little something like this. The first ball I throw on my right hand, I'm going to catch it with my left hand, make sure that all of the other balls are released, but just let them drop. So it looks a little something like that. Now you're going to repeat that process, but each time you want to catch more than 1 ball. So next time I try that, I'm going to catch 2 balls, and eventually I'm going to catch all 5 and do our flash. Alright, now we're going to go back to the colored balls to demonstrate more of the learning how to juggle 5 balls. Now how you're going to want to throw these out of your hand, I don't think we talked about that before, is you're going to throw the furthest ball to the edge of your fingers. Then you're going to throw the ball on the outside and then the one on the inside with the 3 balls in your one hand. So watch very closely. Just pay attention to my right hand as I throw the balls in the air for 1 rotation. Okay, that was called a flash right there. I threw each ball once and I caught each ball once. So practice doing that, and then we'll work on developing 5 balls. So now you've done the flash a couple of times. You want to keep on going and try and do one more throw. Try and do 6 throws and 6 catches. If you get stuck with this, and it is going to take a long time to learn this, it took me about a year to master, practicing about 20 minutes a day. I'm a sole learner, so you may pick it up faster. One of the tips to learn this if you have a partner is to throw all 5 balls to them and let them catch them, and then have them throw all 5 balls to you in order, and then catch those balls. That gives you a chance to work on just catching the balls and just throwing the balls. And eventually, you'll be able to do this. And that's 5-ball cascade. Now another way to juggle 5 balls, which may be a little bit easier than the 5-ball cascade, is 5-ball multiplexing. And multiplexing is throwing more than 1 ball at a time. So to demonstrate that with just 2 balls, you're going to be throwing 2 balls from one hand at the same time instead of individually. It looks a little something like this. From the left hand, like that. So I'm going to demonstrate juggling 5 balls with that multiplex pattern. Now to demonstrate the 5-ball multiplex, I'm going to start out by just throwing 1 ball from my right hand. As that's in the air, I'm going to do an outside throw with both the orange and purple ball. They're going to split, and I'm going to catch 1 ball and then catch 2 and repeat the process. So basically it will look like a reverse cascade, but I'm juggling 5 balls and throwing multiple balls at the same time, hence the name 5-ball multiplex. Looks a little something like this. Now I recommend you do the 5-ball multiplex with bean bags because they're a little bit easier to catch rather than using hard balls like the silicone balls. Now I'd like to show you some transitions to go from your 5-ball cascade to your 5-ball multiplex. If you can learn both these tricks, it's interesting to combine these two in a routine. So you start out doing your 5-ball cascade, catch the balls, but keep juggling a cascade with 3 balls with holding 2 balls still in your hand. So it'll look a little something like this. And from there you can go into your multiplex. To go back into the 5-ball cascade, simply do the 3-ball cascade with the 2 balls in each hand still. Flash the 3 balls, which will give you enough room to throw the 2 balls in your hand to go back into the 5-ball cascade. It'll look a little something like this. And there we go, 5-ball cascade to 5-ball multiplexing. Alright, now we're going to go into some club juggling. I'm going to give you a brief introduction on how to juggle the cascade with 3 clubs. I prefer to use, these are Renegade juggling clubs. There's a lot of different club manufacturers. There's Brian Dubay, there's Todd Smith, and there's some other generics. We're going to include some references at the end so you can order them. Club juggling has become quite popular, mostly because of club passing. We're not going to go into this on this DVD, but on future DVDs we're going to show you how to do some club passing. Now, to start out with a club, it's different from the ball and the ring because not only do you have to give it a spin, you have to give it approximately 1 rotation of a spin so you catch it on the handle rather than the fat part of the club. So it's going to look like this. From the side view, just want to give it a grip on the club just like that. How you would grip like any kind of club, I guess you would say, or a golf club, something like that. And just practice that toss from hand to hand 20 times, just like we did with the balls. Once you can do that 20 times in a row, we'll go on to the next step. Next step in club juggling, instead of going on with 2 clubs, we're going to add a ball first. You're going to throw the club up. When that reaches half its rotation or the top of its arc, you're going to throw up the ball underneath it. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Once you can do that with the ball and the club comfortably, you're ready to move on to 2 clubs. You're going to hold 1 club in each hand. You're going to throw the club in your right hand up first. When that reaches the top of its arc, you throw up the other club underneath it. 1, 2. 1, 2. And just like when we learned the cascade with balls, make sure you don't pass it or feed it from your other hand. Make sure you give it a toss. 1, 2. 1, 2. And also try going first with your left hand. And when you can do that 20 times in a row without dropping it, you're ready to go on to 2 balls and 1 club. 2 balls and 1 club. You're going to hold 2 balls in one hand, your right hand, 1 club in the other. You're going to throw the ball first and then the club. So you're going to basically be doing a cascade with 2 balls and 1 club. It's going to look like this. Once you get comfortable with that, you're ready to add another club to the pattern and drop out a ball. To start out with 2 clubs and a ball, we're going to practice holding 2 clubs in one hand. I prefer to hold the club that I'm going to throw first on top of the other club. Some people prefer the other way around, to throw the bottom club first. But I prefer to throw the top club, and I prefer to have that on the left side of the bottom club, like this. So we're going to start out the cascade with 2 clubs and 1 ball. We're going to throw 1 of the clubs up first from our right hand, and then with left, and we're going to go into the cascade, like so. And there's cascade with 2 clubs and 1 ball. Once you have this mastered, you're ready to go on to 3 clubs. Again, you're going to hold 2 clubs in your right hand. How we learned to do previously, you're just going to work on adding that club where the previous ball was. And you're going to do the same thing as we learned with 3 balls. We're going to do 1 rotation and then we're going to stop. So it's going to look like this. And we stop. And you want to catch the club with your 4 fingers and your thumb wrapping around so it looks a little bit like this. And you can practice that throwing it from hand to hand. Make sure not to get your fingers caught in there because it can really hurt. So practice the cascade that way. Try a couple of throws and work your way up so you can finally do the 3 club juggle. And that is how you juggle clubs. Alright, now we're going to go into an introduction to ring juggling. Juggling rings is a little bit different than juggling balls. It's obviously a different object altogether. Where it mostly differs is how you throw the ring and catch the ring. When you throw it, you're going to have to give it a spin to stabilize the ring. So, and you're going to give it that spin with your wrist, just like that. Otherwise, if you don't spin the ring and just toss it, it's going to wobble and it's going to be very difficult to catch. I'm going to show you the basic 3-ring cascade. To learn how to juggle rings, we'll start out with a cascade. We're going to learn it the same way we did the 3-ball cascade, but just learning that you have to really give that ring a spin when you throw it up. You're going to throw it from hand to hand, the same way we did the 3-ball cascade. Once you have that mastered, you can attempt to go onto 2 rings, but what I like to do is I like to learn this trick with a ball, okay? Add balls to it, makes it a little bit easier. So you can just concentrate on throwing that one ring because you already know how to juggle the balls. So you're going to throw up the ring and you throw up the ball underneath. Once you have that mastered, you're ready to go on to 2. I would start out with 2 balls in your strong hand, the ring in your left hand. Once you have that mastered, go into 2 rings and 1 ball. Now how you hold 2 rings in one hand is you're going to separate the rings with your pinky finger and your ring finger, with your index finger and your middle finger on the outside. And you hold your thumb over. You're going to release the ring on the inside first, and then release this ring last. So it's going to look a little something like this. And once you have that down, you're ready to attempt 3 rings. Again, hold 2 rings in one hand, the other ring in your left hand. You're going to throw them up, right hand first, left, same way as 3 balls. And that is the 3-ring cascade. There's a lot of different tricks you can do with rings. You can do a lot of similar tricks that you can do with balls, but rings lend themselves to a lot of different tricks. You can do, just to show you a couple of things, you can do things like pull them over your head, pull them off on the other side. You can do some neat tricks called ring spins, where you spin the ring, catch it on the ring like that. You can do what's called a pancake flip, juggle them like you're flipping a pancake, and lots of other things that you can't do with balls. So I really recommend picking up some rings and playing with them and trying some new tricks. In a later video, we'll show you some more what you can do with rings. Now I'd like to show you some different things you can do while you're doing the shower, or any trick that uses a feed toss. And if you remember, a feed toss is when you just pass a ball from hand to hand like that. Say if you're doing the shower throw, or if you're doing a trick like the 4-4-1, or any trick that calls for a feed. See, the feed doesn't have to be in front of your body. You can also do a behind the back feed, or behind the head feed, or underneath the leg feed. So to combine that, doing the shower, you could be doing the shower, you could throw it 2 high up in the air, and then throw 1 behind your back and go right back into the shower. Or a variation on the 4-4-1, you can also do the feed behind your back or behind your head. We'll demonstrate the feed behind the back in the 4-4-1. Remember that feed throw is a 1 throw. There we go. So that's just something to try behind your back, behind your head, underneath your leg. Try that with your shower and your 4-4-1 trick. Now I'd like to demonstrate how you can make your own juggling balls at home with a few simple objects. To do this, you're going to need some rice, some sandwich baggies, some balloons, and a pair of scissors. First, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take some rice, about 1/2 cup. You may want to use more or less depending on how big you want your balls, and you kind of have to experiment with this. So I'm going to take about a half a cup of rice here. You're going to place that rice in your sandwich bag. So make sure all the rice is in the bottom and try to create a round shape as much as possible. Twist it, and that will help seal it. Then take your scissors and leave about a half an inch of where you twisted the bag. That's way so it won't come unraveled and it won't let any rice fall out. Put that off to the side. Pick up one of your balloons. You're going to cut it where the stem meets the round part of the balloon. And you're going to need 2 balloons for each ball that you want to make. You're going to stretch that balloon. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that baggie full of rice and you're going to place it in one of the balloons. You want to try and place the end that you cut off in first so that the rice won't accidentally spill out. And slowly work the balloon carefully all the way around the bag. Now for the second balloon, you want to put that on the opposite side where the bag is sticking out. And if you have a little bit of extra balloon-age, I guess you would call it, sticking out, you can just give that a little trim. And there you go, you have a nice round juggling ball. Make 3 of those and you're ready to rock and roll. I just showed you how to make your own juggling props. I'll show you the couple of things I use. This is a Ferguson beanbag right here. I've used these for about 10 years. This is a silicone ball right here. These are pretty expensive. They're about $40 each. This is a silk right here. A lot of people learn how to juggle using these silks, and I'll demonstrate that for you right now. Now, I don't actually recommend that you learn how to juggle with silks or scarves, because one of the things is when you throw them up, your hands are actually reversed rather than palm up, and you really want to learn how to juggle palm up. But they're great to teach kids because it's easy to do and they build up their confidence. So if you're teaching kids, scarves are a great thing to use, but I recommend using beanbags if you're an adult and have a little bit more confidence. Also, if you'd like to try and teach kids, another thing you can use instead of beanbags is you can use garbage bags. Now here's a good alternative to scarves. They're just plastic bags that we got from the store, the grocery store. A good thing to do is get a bunch of these, teach some kids how to juggle. Pretty easy to do. The way I like to use them is I like to say, here's my impersonation of homeless juggling. But that's enough of that. Let's go on to learning the 3-ball cascade now. Now I'd like to demonstrate the kick up to you with juggling balls. It's a good thing if you drop or even to start a routine. Say if you're doing your cascade, you drop a ball. What's the best way to recover? Well, I'd like to do the kick up. Simply roll the ball on the top of your foot, kick it up, and catch it. Or, better yet, roll it up, kick it up, and begin juggling again. Now, how you accomplish this feat is you want to have the ball right smack dab center in the center of your foot. And you're going to kick it up almost straight up. So you're going to kind of bend your knee in. It's hard to do it slowly here. But your knee is going to come almost, without the ball, it's going to look like this. In the motion, the ball is almost going to stick to your foot until you release it up and bring it back down. So it's going to look something like this. And the harder you kick it up, the higher it will go in the air. And that is called the kick up. Alright, what instructional DVD would be complete without the juggling and eating the apple trick? If you perform publicly juggling ever, the most common questions you're going to get asked is, do you juggle chainsaws, and do you do the trick where you juggle and eat the apple? Well, I'm not going to do the chainsaws on this DVD, but I will show you this one. Grab any old apple will do. Make sure it's not old and beaten up. I like to take out the stem because if you bite that off, you're going to choke on it, and it's not a good feeling while you're juggling. People might think it's part of the routine and you die on stage. Now you're going to do the normal cascade, and you're going to want to take a bite out of the apple while juggling. It's very important that you don't bite the real ball, because if you swallow this, it could hurt twice. Now, how you're going to do this trick is you really don't have enough time while you're juggling the apple to take a bite out of it. So you're going to have to do a self throw like this. That gave me my little spot to bring the apple up to my mouth to take a bite. So it's going to look like this. Very tasty. People will be impressed, but they'll be even more impressed when you start taking bites from it from each hand. That is juggling and eating the apple. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Canadians, my name is Will Roya, and I am the best juggler in the world in my price range.